Donald Trump reclaimed his office desk and found a note inside. A letter addressed to 47, supposedly penned by Joe Biden on his final day as POTUS. Supposedly. Supposedly on that final day he had time to pardon everybody else that he hadn't pardoned yet, mostly. And write that letter for Donald Trump to read later in the day. We have the words of the letter. How genuine were they? You guys decide. Again, we can listen to the history of Joe Biden. Remember, he penned the letter that I'm about to read for you guys on the same day that he pardoned a bunch of people in his family. Out of nowhere that we didn't expect. Like the Hunter Biden pardon that came several days before, we kind of expected that one. Because it was like, yeah, Hunter might need it. But when Joe Biden started pardoning people in his family I hadn't even heard of, it was like, oh, well, what are they up to? What were they up to that they need pardoning for? That's interesting. That's interesting. And it's even more interesting. It's not like Joe Biden pardoned everyone. He didn't pardon himself. He didn't pardon Kamala Harris. He didn't pardon his wife, Jill. But he pardoned everybody else in his family. Why? There's got to be a reason. Anyway, listen to what Joe Biden said. This is just a couple years before. This was when Biden was running, and the concept of Trump at the end of his first term doing mass pardons came up, and Joe Biden said this.
Does this concern you? All these preemptive pardons?
Well, it concerns me in terms of what kind of precedent it sets and how the rest of the world looks at us as a nation of laws and justice. You're not going to see in our administration that kind of approach to pardons.
That was December 2020. He said it's concerning the idea of preemptive pardons, and you're not going to see that from me. Well, that's exactly what we saw. So, this is, before we read this letter, we have to know that what we're reading is from someone with very little sacred honor and a history of just saying things that he doesn't mean. But this is what he supposedly wrote. Dear President Trump, as I take leave of this sacred office, I wish you and your family all the best in the next 4 years. The American people and people around the world look to this house for steadiness in the inevitable storms of history. And my prayer is that in the coming years we will be a time of prosperity, peace, and grace for our nation. May God bless you and guide you as He has blessed and guided our beloved country since our founding. Signed, Joe Biden. People found the letter interesting because of its, I guess, relative lack of length. It's only 2 paragraphs. The second paragraph is only 1 sentence. I tell you what, I was shocked when I saw that was people's interpretation of the letter. I was like, wow, you guys thought that was short? I thought that was very long, considering what needed to be said in that letter. 2 paragraphs could have been 2 words. I apologize. Signed, Joe Biden. That would have been a much better letter. That would have been something meaningful. A real apology. 2 words is all it took. You could even do 2 letters after signed Joe Biden. P.S. And then you could go on for as long as you want. You could do, hey, I apologize. Signed Joe Biden. P.S. Hey man, what we did to you was really wrong. I'm sorry that you almost had to die to read this apology. Yeah, we kind of messed some things up. Good luck.
For the full podcast episode, select this video.